Am I the idiot for uninviting my mom from my wedding because she got me a different gift than my siblings? I want to preface, while it is about the money, and it is also not about the money. It is hurtful to be treated differently, and I know Reddit believes that no one owes anyone anything, but I feel like a mom does owe her kids fair treatment. I am getting married in May to the love of my life. I don't think my mom is a huge fan, but at least she isn't one of those crazy moms that try to break us up. There was one incident between them, but beyond that the relationship has been mutually civil. I am very lucky, and my parents paid for all of my schooling, including my master's. My mom seems to think that is the norm, but I understand most parents can't do that, and I am very fortunate. My fiancée didn't have that opportunity, and she worked part-time and took out loans. She currently has $80,000 in student loans, but is working her ass off to pay them back. My dad doesn't think I should marry her while she has them, but I made it very clear that isn't up for discussion. My dad is also paying for the wedding. When my sister got married, my dad paid for the wedding, and my mom gave her a cash gift. I don't want to get into exact numbers, but it was extremely generous and probably more than the down payment of a house. I have another sister who is getting married in September, and I found out that my mom promised her the same amount of cash but not me. I was pissed because I believed at the time she was doing it because she dislikes my fiancé. I confronted her and let her know if she was going to exclude my fiancé or be hurtful just because she doesn't like her, there will be consequences. My mom said it wasn't about not liking her. It was about the student loans. My mom explained that both of my brother-in-laws have no debt, so the money was to start a future, but she knows if she gives me the money it will go to the loan, true, and she feels she shouldn't be responsible for someone else's kid's college education. I tried to explain that paying down that debt ASAP is in the best interest of my future. My mom said that she had thought a lot about it and asked her husband for advice. They both have kids from previous marriages and keep most money separate for estate planning purposes for their kids, so he doesn't have any vested interest. But he also hates me, so go figure that he said no. My mom said she feels bad, but I shouldn't punish her over a gift. I didn't say much at the time, but I thought long and hard and decided I don't want her at the wedding. She doesn't like my fiancé. She doesn't care about my future as much as my sisters. She is playing favorites with her kids. I texted her my decision and she never replied. My sisters now say they aren't coming to the wedding, and my father is furious and demanding I re-invite her. My fiancé actually teared up because she feels so supported, and this does hurt, but that has to be my priority. You are the idiot. You can invite or disinvite whoever you like for whatever arbitrary reason you chose, but do so knowing that in this case you have no real argument against everyone thinking you're wrong. Yes, paying off the loans is an investment in your future too. But think of it this way. If your sister's marriages collapse, they get a refund on that investment, part of a house or equivalent value even if it's in joint names, with which they can comfortably recover and start again. What do you get back from the loan repayment if you and your soon-to-be wife split up? It's still an investment, yes, but it's an unsecured investment, with risk of full loss rather than half. In the event of a split, your partner would get the full benefit of the gift, and you none, as opposed to half and half. Now, obviously you're not going to think you're going to split up, because you're getting married and doing so intending to split would be dumb. But from the point of view of an investment, you have to accept the inherent risk. And this risk also holds if something terrible happens. Your sister's husbands die or become incapacitated, they have that security under them. What do you have if your wife passes or needs full-time care? And yes, again, that scenario is better without the debt than with it, but most aid would help with debt or current income, but won't help if you received a large gift and spent it, even if it makes no sense to hold on to it when you have debt to pay. There's a lot of logic in what she's thinking, none of which is based on liking or disliking your fiancé or playing favorites. Maybe she even intended to hold the gift in trust, in effect, until you cleared under you or the unthinkable scenarios came about, so you could benefit in the same way without the added risks. Assuming immediately that it's punitive is overreacting, and I'm sure your assumption and bias has colored how your fiancé reacted because you seem determined to make every innocuous decision into an attack on her. She feels she shouldn't be responsible for someone else's kid's college education. To any sane, compassionate person with no reasonable complaint, this shouldn't be someone else's kid. This should be her daughter-in-law. This is clear favoritism. OP's mom isn't obligated to give money to anyone she doesn't want to, but OP is more than justified from uninviting anyone who clearly doesn't support their union. Being gracious. Not the idiot. I still think this is a pretty clear everyone's the idiot here situation. Sure, it's the mom's money and she can do what she wants with it, but this is clearly biased treatment of her kids. If the cash gift amount is as large as OP is saying, That is a pretty substantial gift to give to all her kids except one. And it does feel like a BS reason to say, well, I'm not giving it to you because I don't agree with how you are going to use this gift I give you. Feels like she is trying to attach some strings to it even if she were to give it to OP, which is almost always an idiot move. OP is the idiot because their parents have clearly already invested significant amounts of money into their life and has given them a great starting point compared to the majority of other people in the world, as evidenced by OP's fiancée having $80K in loans. OP having school completely paid for and dad paying for the entire wedding. I mean, yeah, it sucks that mom is being an idiot about this and it isn't fair, but I am quite a bit less sympathetic towards someone born with a silver spoon in their mouth crying about not milking even more money from mom and dad. Am I the idiot for wanting my daughters to wear nice dresses at their cousin's wedding? My nephew is getting married in July and my husband, our daughters, 19, 15, and 4, and I were invited. We were told this is going to be a casual outdoor wedding at the park. My nephew's fiancée is getting her wedding dress from a pawn shop and I have no idea where she's getting the bridesmaid dresses, but I've seen them and they're not something that you'd expect to wear at a wedding. They're church dresses at best. I told my daughters that I don't care if the bridesmaids or even the bride chooses not to look presentable, but if we're going to a wedding on the other side of the country with family we haven't seen in at least 3 years, we're going to look good. I asked my older two what they were going to wear and my oldest showed me her prom dress and my middle said she couldn't decide and walked out of her room with 3 of her church/homecoming dresses. 2 of them were $50 from a boutique near us and the third was from the Macy's children's section. Middle is tiny. They're nice dresses but I would never let her wear them to a wedding. I pulled out a dress that she wore at another wedding and told her I wanted her to wear that. She said no because her cousin said casual and she doesn't want to upstage anyone. I tried telling her it's their choice not to dress for the occasion and that I'm not paying for her to fly across the country just to wear any old dress. She also was upset that I'm taking her to get her hair, nails, and makeup professionally done before the wedding and we will be taking pictures while we're there. She still refused and ran to tell my mom, nephew's grandma, that I won't let her wear what she wants and that I'm trying to upstage my nephew's fiancé. I'm not trying to upstage anyone, I just want my daughters to look their best when they see family members that they haven't seen in years. My mom said I'm going overboard and to let the girls wear their church dresses. I told her my girls will be dressed formally no matter what everyone else is wearing and she threatened to buy my middle daughter a new dress to wear and take her nails and makeup off because she wants to follow the dress code. My husband thinks I'm going overboard and I should let her wear what she wants but my oldest agrees with me. We can't settle this so I wanted to know if I was wrong in this situation. You are the idiot. You're going to be upstaging the wedding party, which is tackier than showing up dressed down. My mom taught me good etiquette is knowing which fork to use. Good manners is using the wrong one when your guest does. Your perspective on wedding etiquette is second to their wishes. Your opinion on what a wedding should or should not be shouldn't trump what the bride and groom want and have requested. This isn't your day, it's theirs. You are the idiot. This is someone's wedding. Not your wedding. And definitely not your family's Christmas card photo shoot. Making yourself and your kids dress formally instead of following the guest code that has been set by the couple is rude and an idiot move. You care so much about how your family will look to people they haven't seen in years, that you're pushing them to look rude, ill-mannered, and pretentious. Do you think that's going to impress your family members? Hopefully your family knows you well enough to realize you are the rude, tacky individual that forced your daughters to behave that way as well. They shouldn't come off looking like crappy people just because you are. You are the idiot. It sounds like you're trying to upstage them. If seeing people you haven't seen in a long time is so important to you, you should have visited them sooner. A prom dress to a casual wedding? Overkill. If I were the bride I'd be slightly pissed. That's why they tell you a dress code in the first place. It's not your day. The day is not about people seeing your girls dressed up. The day is to celebrate a wedding. Stop trying to upstage it and justify it by saying it's not my fault they decided to have a more casual wedding. It's 110% your fault to purposely outdo them on their day. Am I the idiot for telling my girlfriend my ex comes first? I know the title sounds bad, but hear me out. I, male 37, was with my ex-wife, female 36, we will call her Elaine, for 15 years. We were high school boyfriend and girlfriend and married after university. We have 3 kids, all boys, 9, 8 and 5. We divorced a few years ago and have remained friendly so we can co-parent our boys as easily as possible. She has remarried and I get along with her new husband who seems to be a good stepdad to my kids. I was single for a while as I focused on my boys and work but I met my girlfriend, we'll call her Nicole, 27, about 3 months ago. I haven't introduced her yet to my kids, which has been upsetting her, but I have told her that 3 months for me is not a long enough or a committed enough relationship to involve my kids yet. I do not want them getting attached, or otherwise uncomfortable until I know for sure that this is the real deal. It was Elaine's birthday last week and I told Nicole I would be doing for her what I always do with our boys and I wouldn't be available until later in the day. Nicole was upset with this as she wanted us to spend the day together, but it wasn't for anything special. Anyway, what I do on my ex's birthday is go over in the morning and with our sons I help them make her breakfast, I get some flowers and a nice card and a present from them and then they take it to her and give her breakfast in bed. My sons love doing this for their mom and I always like to hear how happy it all makes them. Nicole was angry I did this as she said it made her feel less important and like she would never come to ever mean as much to me in my life. I replied that Elaine is the mother of my children and that even though we are not in a relationship or in love we have our boys and I want our boys to grow up knowing that I always treated Elaine with respect even though we are no longer together. I do not want them thinking that we never cared about each other. Nicole says she doesn't want me doing this again whilst I am in a relationship with her and that I am the idiot for not putting her feelings first. She said it's obvious I still love Elaine and I won't even give up this one day to put her over Elaine. I told her that I will always have a love for Elaine as we were together a long time and have 3 kids and nothing will ever change that. Nicole said if I do not promise to begin to restrict communication with my ex to make it just about the kids, she doesn't see how I can ever prove to her I care about her. So, Reddit, am I the idiot for still doing this for my ex on her birthday when I knew it would upset my girlfriend? Edit, just to clarify, I do not take the breakfast to her in bed, our oldest carries the tray. I just help the boys make the breakfast and they go and present it to their mom. Edit 2, wow, lots of responses. Thank you for taking the time to read and respond. I have answered some comments but I will add the extra details people need clarifying. Her new husband, I will talk, /have coffee, watch TV whilst the kids take the breakfast up. Her husband is the one who will have the boys awake and let me in so the kids and I can make the breakfast. Her husband will generally take Elaine out for dinner or plan something special so I might end up taking the kids so they can be alone as I understand he is now her husband and I have a diminished role in her life, but not my kids. The tradition started with my oldest when he was little and wanted to do something special for his mom on her birthday, so we have carried it on together as the boys have come along. I do understand in a couple of years they will be old enough to do this themselves and not need my help, but I enjoy spending this time with them to do something nice for their mother. Elaine did not initiate the divorce, I did. The marriage ended amicably as possible as we just grew apart. There was no big fight, no infidelity, we were 2 adults making a decision that we would be happier apart than together. And we are. I was the youngest in a very messy divorce when I was a kid and my parents used to be awful to each other. I did not want that kind of memory lingering for my own kids just because we did decide to divorce. No, it was not Nicole's birthday or a special event. She has not yet had a birthday in our relationship. I had planned to do something special for her birthday, which is in December, if we were still together at that time. As said, our relationship is still very new. I did tell Nicole that Elaine and our kids came first on that day only, Elaine's birthday. This is simply due to the tradition I have with my sons. I can see why she took it out of context, but I didn't mean Elaine comes first always, but I did say my boys always will. Not the idiot. You're not putting your ex-wife first, you're putting your kids first, as you should. The birthday ritual you have with your kids is a little unusual to me, but ultimately helping your kids do something nice for their mother isn't something I, or anyone, should find fault with. The fact that you chat with her husband when your kids take her breakfast speaks volumes. If there was something there, he presumably wouldn't be so chill with you. I almost said the idiot because while I don't agree with your girlfriend, she's at least being honest with you early on and letting her red flags fly high. If I were you, I'd heed them and find a new girlfriend who can handle the fact that you're a responsible father who takes an active role in making sure his kids respect their mother and by extension other women. Not the idiot. But a dad giving a good example for his boys on how to treat the women in their lives even after divorce. You are not prioritizing your ex, but your kids over your current girlfriend. Help the kids give their mother a great start of her birthday and continuing a tradition. If your current girlfriend, or any girlfriend for that matter, demands you stop showing your ex-wife respect, I'd say it's time to move on. Your kids come first. Teaching them love, respect and traditions are way more important than your girlfriend of 3 months, and if she doesn't get that, she is not ready to date a man with his kids as his first priority. Good on you for showing your kids mutual respect for mom and dad is important even if you're not together anymore. You're doing a great job. Everyone's the idiot. The issue here is in your own statement, you're putting your ex over your partner, Which isn't a great plan, not just your kids. I have a lot of admiration for your work to maintain a positive co-parenting relationship and your desire to be a good example. But setting aside hours and hours on your ex's birthday to go into her home she shares with her new husband to cook for her while she's in bed. Dude, that's intimate as hell. Way beyond co-parenting, way beyond respect, and not in a good way. If anything, it's showing disrespect for her new marriage, life, and family unit by continually inserting yourself into a moment that have no bearing on you. Obviously, we don't have every detail, but Nicole isn't exactly wrong for being weirded out by this plan. Aside from that, it doesn't sound like Nicole is at all ready for a relationship with a single parent. Again, not wrong about this specific situation, but she's very wrong to try to force a meeting with your kids. She's entitled to an opinion on how you communicate with your ex in general, sort of, as 3 months isn't that long, but making it into an ultimatum just proves immaturity. You're better off taking a step back from her and perhaps from all of it, extrapolating the legitimate parts of her complaints, and reorganizing to seek out a better suited partner. You are the idiot sorta. I commend you for co-parenting successfully, but if you really want to move on with someone new you're going to have to cut the cord. It's called divorce for a reason, as much as that can suck at times, especially when kids are involved. It's a sweet tradition that you had, but as many mentioned, there are other ways to show your kids that everyone still gets along and respects each other. Helping them purchase a gift for her the days prior. Or help them bake a cake for her at your house and send it home with them. It may be too soon for your new girlfriend to make demand, or it could be the best time to make her expectations of the relationship known. This girl may not be the one for you in your situation, but I can tell you it will be hard for you to find one that will be okay with you being so close and involved with your ex. I am also a divorced father and I have a new wife. Yes, there are times I do want to insert myself into my kids' events, but would it call for being considered too close to my ex, and I avoid those situations for respect of my current wife. What I do in those situations is put myself in my wife's shoes. Would you like it if your new girlfriend expected you to be okay with her going to her ex-high school sweetheart's house and making him breakfast every year on his birthday because it's a tradition they share? Or how about her ex coming over to your place and making her breakfast? If you're okay with it, then you're special and maybe you need to be single until your kids are adults. If you are not okay with it, then you need to review how you co-parent everything situation and determine what you would be okay with if your girlfriend was in the same position with her ex. Then try to compromise and find a way to co-parent but still be respectful to your current relationship. Update. Thanks so much for the comments, insights, and even the private messages. I even take on board the "you are the idiot" comments, and this is what happened. A couple of days after I posted, I called Elaine's husband and asked him if he would be okay to meet me for a beer or something. He said yes, so we met up in a local bar. After the pleasantries, I told him what I had done and showed him the post. I then asked if he did feel uncomfortable but had just been too nice or polite to say so, and if he had, I wouldn't hold it against him as he was now a big part of my kids' lives. Elaine's husband said he didn't have a problem with it and never had, because he understood the kids enjoyed doing the breakfast with me and it was time for us to bond. Then he said Elaine was pregnant with their first kid together, and that next year, how would it be? As he wouldn't want their child left out of this tradition. We both went to see Elaine and we all talked, and from now on, all of us are going to make the breakfast, including their new baby when it comes along, obviously when it is old enough, but in meantime, he will carry the baby in or oldest will. Either way, we will make it all about the kids. So, we left knowing that this tradition will evolve as the years go on, and when they can, it will just be the kids and their mom. The following night, I took Nicole out for dinner. I was very honest with her and said that my children always will be first, and part of that means sometimes, their mom, her husband, and the family dynamic we have, will come over and above her. I said I fully understood if this was not something she could commit to, as I know this is never going to be an easy thing for any woman to understand, but I told her how bad my own parents' divorce had been and how even now, they cannot be in the same area. Serious, my dad didn't go to my wedding due to their animosity. I told Nicole this is not something I ever want for my kids, to feel like they have to choose. I want a happier dynamic, and this might be different to a normal divorce, but see what works for us. And that I was the asshole, that I wasn't prepared to change it because it makes my kids happy. We decided we would go our separate ways, as Nicole said she doesn't think she can be in a relationship where she will never be the priority. I did correct her and say she would be a priority as it would deepen, but I had children. They always will be first. I wished her well with her future and dropped her off at home. So, yes. That's the update. Thanks again, Reddit, for the advice, for the comments, and even the bashing. Am I the idiot for not leaving my job with grace after being fired and threatening to trash my boss and sue? I was fired recently and I admit I didn't take it well, but in my opinion my boss has zero legal justification to fire me. I have never had any problems at work, but a private conversation was overheard by his wife and it made her cry. I also think the way he went about it was awful. He made me apologize to her, so I thought I had a chance of retaining my job, but then he fired me in front of her while she smirked at me. I was blindsided and asked if I could talk to him privately. He said no. I asked to please talk to him without her and he said he wasn't going to disrespect his marriage and kick his wife out of his office. My biggest issues are that 1. He fired me for personal reasons, nothing to do with my work. 2. His wife is currently going through menopause and I'm not trying to be weird, but she has been more sensitive lately and suddenly getting very hot, so to me it's obviously connected and yes he support her, but he can't make it everyone else's issue. 3. A couple years ago I heard her making fun of me and I didn't escalate like this. I told him he was making a mistake and I would look into legal options. I said I would leave an honest review about this on social media, and I have. I also left a comment on his wife's private account about how she smirked at me and allowed her friend to watch me pack, and maybe this is slight idiot territory, but he gave me an hour to gather my stuff and then he left his office unattended. I took a Sharpie to his pictures of her. I really like this job and I'm hurt and furious right now, but I'm getting mixed feedback from friends and family. Bad-mouthing his wife on work time on work property isn't tolerated. When at work, you don't get private conversations. If you want to do that, you need to take it away from the workplace where no one else can hear. Plus, if you live in a right-to-work state, they can just fire you for whatever they want. Plus, if you defaced his photos, then you've no chance now. You are the idiot in this, and yes, you messed up. OP honestly sounds immature and their public antics probably won't help them moving forward. They got caught gossiping about their boss's wife at work. They got fired as a result, and then vandalized the boss's personal photos of said wife. They are harassing the wife publicly on her social media pages. They sound like they are admitting online that they got fired for being a gossip, but think it's unfair. At this point, OP, you should probably stop for your own sake and the sake of your future career prospects. Edit, based OP's comments, they are a nasty piece of work. They made some pretty vile comments about the wife and said their boss should leave her because she is old. If OP liked their job so much, maybe they should have been more professional instead of acting like a high school bully. You are the idiot. Private conversations at work aren't private. Sounds like a privately owned small business, which doesn't have an HR. The gossip mill and those are constantly running and no amount of apologizing would have saved your job. You disrespected the boss's wife. Defacing his pictures and such was childish. You likely don't have grounds to win in a lawsuit. You can sue for anything, but it doesn't mean you'll win. Move on. Get a different job and try to learn something from this. Namely, maturity.